Hey everybody, it's Eddie Joe on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv, and here's your Sunday Roundup. The Sunday Roundup is basically when I do a retrospective over the past week for myself to understand what's happened over the past week, what might project into the coming week or weeks, right? We had a lot of good news, a lot of really good news that even I thought would be more impactful than what it actually wound up being. Here's the example. We get told that, hey, 11 companies have been officially given the nod for Bitcoin Spot ETFs. Great, awesome. Let's rock and roll. We're expecting a whole bunch of money to come into it. There's a ramp up. There's also an effect on OTC, meaning over-the-counter transactions. And when you think about it, well, some of the leading stories were, we're going to seed our ETF with X amount of money, like BlackRock said 10 million, wound up being 500 million over the course of time. And so they're holding a lot. But that news didn't really drill into anybody. So that news didn't really, resound. I'm expecting that to actually come into effect over the next week or so as people start to realize, holy moly, BlackRock's holding a lot of Bitcoin. Then you have, other companies doing the same thing, mostly over the counter transactions. That's not going to have a big effect as much as, miners are dumping their Bitcoin. That's going to have a big effect, because that's a visible thing where miners are moving Bitcoin over to exchanges, being ready to be sold over the open market. That's huge, right? So this news takes off. This news gets quietly pushed onto the side because it's not as sexy. It's not much of anything. Although this ultimately can have, because this was $1 billion, right? That was moved over to exchanges from miners. However, when you stop and think about it, BlackRock alone snatched up 500 million over-the-counter transactions that aren't done in public as to not truly directly affect the market. Done on purpose. Makes sense. So now when you sit back and you look at it, you're like, wow, well, that means that billion is going to have an effect, but it's going to be offset ultimately by what's going on over here. I mean, ultimately, we'll find out about that, as we always do, because it's on the blockchain. It's not hard. And then you start to see things start to go like this, and then you start to see how much money is actually being put into the market over time. How many more transactions are being put into the market over time. And that's what you should be paying attention to is, well, what's the trade volume? Has the trade volume gone up? Has this happened? Has that happened? These are things that I'm paying attention to that we got last week. We also got really good numbers on employment, all that good stuff. Well, employment's going to get affected. Why is employment being affected? Well, you have things like Alphabet having major layoffs, Amazon having layoffs, Citi having layoffs, just a whole bunch of companies, whole slew of companies having layoffs. That's kind of big. Whether we choose to admit it or not, that's huge, because now you're looking at, well, we're getting the landing that everybody thought we would get. It's a little bit softer. So they're predicting that it's going to remain soft, but it is going to get a little bit tougher. Hello, layoffs. Pay attention to your warn notices. Warn notices are where companies have to, tell the government, hey, we're going to be laying off X amount of people in X cities, all that good stuff. And this is how, your state's going to be affected. And they have to do it, within a 60-day time frame. Or when they let those people off, they've got to give 60 days. Some companies are like, yeah, we'll do that. Because if it might be a bigger effect on the market if we front run that too much. And that means that news will linger too much as a negative, and they don't want to take that chance. They'd rather have the advantage of, hey, we're going to do layoffs. It's going to be great for market value, great for shareholder value, boom, 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 boom. And then it just happens. But then you have layoffs that are kind of like, wow, didn't realize that company wasn't doing so well, like Discord having layoffs. You have a lot of companies that are having layoffs. Cloudflare, I've been watching, people post videos about how, they're getting fired from Cloudflare and not having a good time with it. Excuse me. A lot of people have been fired before, laid off before, all that good stuff. So it's something that they've done before. It's something that, they don't like, but you can deal with it. But it's how a company does it that leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And given, the companies that I've been listening to that have not necessarily done a good job, because the newest trend right now is recording your layoff. That's going to send a message to the street about how that company actually is. And the street is us. The street are people like us that are making investments, that are using products, using services. And people do get turned, hello, Starbucks. We do get turned off by companies that don't treat their people well, that forget that the reason why they're doing so well is because of their people. These are the reasons why I pay attention to these things. Not everything I pay attention to is crypto. Not everything I pay attention to is actually crypto related. A lot of the things are just in general investment related, right? That's how I move. I just chose the name Eddie J on crypto because I'm deep into crypto. My company does a lot of Web3 development. We do a lot of, automation. We do a lot of stuff in that space. I'm a principal of the Metaverse Standards Forum, where we talk about, interoperability within the metaverse. Now, you know why I have this. Every now and then you'll just see me get like really happy about something that I noticed that's going to happen in the metaverse. Huge. I mean, if you ever have questions about the metaverse, ask me. And I have access to a lot of companies, a lot of like really cool people doing some really cool stuff. I don't know if you've noticed, but you're starting to see a lot of video game, commercials on television in the United States. And they've got like big name people doing these commercials. And you're like, what the heck? That person's not broke. So if that person's not broke, how much money did those game companies pay to have that person do a video or do a commercial? And then I started thinking, take it one step beyond. They're talking about mobile games. Well, we're only a hair away from Web3 games coming into play, Web3 services. I'm starting to see jobs for specific Web3 services that are coming up that are going to make your jaw drop. They're really going to make your jaw drop. I want to have a conversation with a couple of my design buddies, architectural design, because they already have the tools to bring their architectural designs into a 3D world and then give you goggles to actually let you walk through the space as if you were there. So you can see how you would use the space. Wow. Wow, wow. So these are things that I've been paying attention to over time. The immediate numbers that we got last week, the immediate, nods for Bitcoin Spot ETFs that we got last week, those are all great. But like I said, BlackRock just, went from 10 million to 500 million in a blink. A bunch of, companies started, a bunch of miners started putting their Bitcoin on the market. That got the news. I'm expecting this week that some of that news about those private transactions are going to come out, which is going to increase positivity. I think also people are going to put together that they also had, positive transaction numbers. Those transaction numbers went up. I think you're going to see more people tell their, management firms, their money management firms, get me in on spot ETFs. Again, more transactions. This is what's going to be huge as that news continues to grow, continues to go out. Then I think you're going to see over the next year, 2 years, I think you're going to see DeFi explode. I think you're going to see tokenization explode. Truly explode. I was speaking with somebody who was a very close friend of mine who used to work at the company, at the real estate investment trust firm that I was consulting. And we were talking about how, they should be really looking deep into tokenization. That they should really be looking deep into tokenization. I have an article that I did where I was talking about how Baltimore is about to run a pilot program on tokenizing certain real estate transactions so they can track the record keeping, so they can do better record keeping, increase the efficiency. It's supposed to be a 3-year pilot. So imagine what starts to happen. So now I think you're going to start to see cities start to pop up and do these things. You want to know who I'm paying attention to? Title companies. Where are you going to be when, that tokenization starts to happen? That record, of ownership starts to happen. Where are title companies? What do you do now? How do you move forward? I'm really expecting that to really affect the marketplace within 2 years. Tokenization is here. Those pilot programs have already started happening. DeFi is here already. Those pilot programs have been incredibly successful and are already here. I told you about how Aave, Avalanche, Polygon, Chainlink, even VeChain. I told you about how different banks were involved with a specific DeFi transaction that happened at a global scale and how fast it went. These are the things that I'm expecting to pick up over 2024, 2025. The halving event is less than 100 days away. Again, putting Bitcoin at a premium. I know I'm talking about different pockets of information, but it's those different pockets of information that I grab that helps to shape my outlook over the past week and over the upcoming week. So right now, to me, the numbers are, this is an oversell by people, taking too much profit. The effect of all of the, Bitcoin that's come on the market from different Bitcoin miners that's out there because they need to raise money to buy more equipment so they can handle the the hash rates that are coming up. These are all huge things that I'm paying attention to. And I hope you're paying attention to as well. There are a lot of things going on. People are freaking out. Bitcoin plummeted below 42,000. Buying opportunity. My percentage on investment is I have a certain percentage for, my more sure-footed investments, right? And it used to be that crypto was over here and sure-footed investments were over there, And then I started realizing, okay, well, options, not stocks, but options are also not sure-footed for me. So I put those over there. So you're looking at stocks, my businesses, real estate holdings, bank accounts, right? How much cash am I holding? I try not to hold too much cash because the amount of cash that you're holding is not really working for you. Try to hold enough in cash so that you can do things, pay bills, all that kind of stuff. Pay bills for, companies that don't accept crypto. Cool. And then you sit there and now you're looking at that percentage, then have a percentage that goes toward real estate, a percentage that goes towards stocks. Not a ton. I have a larger percentage for crypto than I do for stocks. My business investments, pretty big investment, right? Cost me the most. And then I have crypto and options. I haven't played the options game in a little while, but it falls in that category. But now I have crypto. That's where a nice percentage of my money goes because I can see it going up. I was positive last year. I'm positive this year. Thank the heavens. Dead serious. I expect to be even more positive this year. I do expect us to at least approach $100,000 in Bitcoin this year. With that thought process, I have a dedicated dollar cost averaging strategy that has me purchase Bitcoin. Now, I don't just purchase Bitcoin because as I've been telling you, I'm expecting that certain altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. Solana clearly outperformed Bitcoin over 2023, right? That's where your research should kick in, by the way. Because over 2023, if you're taking a backward look, you should be taking a backward look and saying, well, wait a minute, what coins actually did well What coins didn't do well? Bitcoin did very well. Solana outshined it, outclassed it, the whole nine. And that's just off the top of my head. You have other altcoins that did the same thing. You have meme coins that did the same thing. Meme coins are very, very volatile. I don't play with meme coins. I play with coins like Shiba Inu, where they started out as a meme, but I don't know that they thought they were a meme. The street thought they were a meme. I think they thought of it as, hey, let's do this thing and see how it goes. And then it went to a certain point and they said, hey, we should do this. Let's see how it goes. And it just kept going. I don't think they ever actually looked at what they were doing as a meme thing. They could have. But with everything they have going on in that community, I don't think so. Then I also pay attention to the sleeper coins like Cardano, even Algorand. Those are the ones I'm starting to go, hey, what are you doing? What's going on there? And that's when you start to realize, hey, there's a lot going on there, right? I'm trying to bring up the list that I have of coins. I don't know if it's going to pop up without crashing the system. Let's see. Still waiting. It's taking a long time for this screen to pop up. That's the S&P 500. I wonder if I can do this trade. There you go. That's the one I'm looking for. Trading. There you go. I want to bring up my chart so I can see what's going on in TradingView, so you can kind of understand what I'm looking at. And then then I also want to bring up coin market cap, and I'll show you the screen in a minute. Just bear with me, because a lot of people have been asking me, well, what are you paying attention to? What are you looking at? So I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. All right. So obviously this is, this list is, contains, my favorites, some not my favorites. Like, I don't pay attention to Tron at all. That's why it doesn't have a gold star next to it. But that said, are you looking at Solana that's trading underneath $100 that could easily pop over $100 in a heartbeat? I'm paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to what's Ethereum doing versus Bitcoin. Year to date, Ethereum's up almost 11% and Bitcoin's only up 1.45%. These are the things I'm paying attention to. Like I said, there are certain coins that will outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a great store of value. Other coins are great uses. They're great. They have great, even outstanding use cases. This is what I'm paying attention to. Now you're starting to get into my head and you're starting to understand what my thought process is, how I grab news, how I put that together to paint myself a picture on how I'm going to trade or how I'm going to maneuver my money, maneuver my assets. That's what I look at. I want to see, give me a sec, Control F, H bar. And here's Hedera down 7.59%, year to date. Look at Arbitrum, 36%, up 36% year to date. Look at Celestia, up 54.27% year to date. You have, some movers right here that are doing things. I'm looking at VeChain being down 11.39%. And I'm sitting back and I'm kind of going, yeah, I think that's a buying opportunity. They're a hair over 3 cents. To me, that's a buying opportunity, and I happen to like VeChain. Stacks. I like Stacks. Our web hosting platform, actually our marketing ecosystem, we support Bitcoin, Ethereum, Stacks. I think we do Wave. I have to ask the guys. I know we do Matic. I know we do XRP. We just got paid outside of our hosting platform. Somebody said, oh, you guys accept Bitcoin? I said, yes, we do accept Bitcoin. We were doing consulting for them. They said, oh, great, I'll pay you in Bitcoin. Boop. And I got it like 3 minutes later. She had never done Bitcoin before and boop, did it. She has Cash App. I have Cash App. She went and she bought Bitcoin using Cash App and then said, okay, I bought Bitcoin with Cash App. Let me send it over here. Bam. And it happened like that. How cool is that? How cool is that? So when people say, oh, maybe I should be accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, especially now when it's going up, right? And it's a great store of value. So of course I'm going to accept Bitcoin. Why? Because I can use Bitcoin to actually get loans, because I can use that as my collateral. It can be used differently compared to other altcoins. So anyway, that's your Sunday Roundup. That's what I'm looking at this week. Remember, this week we have a lot of earnings coming up. We've got a lot more banks coming. We have, things like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. We have just a lot of banks coming up, PNC. We have a lot of financial institutions coming up, State Street and others coming up with their earnings this week. Pay attention. The financial sector is going to be on full blast this week. Full blast. I just happened to glance over and Lido's at 25.72% year to date up. So to me, I'm going to be doing a lot of research this week, a lot of research today on who is going up, who has the opportunity to go up, and that's what I'm going to buy into. You have Genesis. I want to touch on this. Genesis crypto exchange basically kicked out of New York, paying $8 million to make a case go away, and they have to kick up their New York license. They will not be allowed to operate in New York again. Wow. New York is moving backwards. New York State is moving backwards. Right? Yes. Do I think that, maybe they broke the rules or whatever have you, but I think New York's rules are really, really crazy stringent. Crazy. I think overly so. So did they break the rules? Were the rules not clear? What was it? I think that, it's possible they could have messed up, but I think it's more likely that, yes, you messed up on, the funny rules, the stricter than any place else rules. And that's how we caught you out there. And that's how we're kicking you out. So now they're decreasing my opportunity for investment. You want to know why people are leaving New York? That's one of the reasons why. It's overly expensive. It's cold. They're moving to other places. We should be paying attention to things like that, right? We have something like the SEC about to approve Ethereum ETFs. That could be an interesting move. Vanguard is completely against, crypto, and they're reinforcing that move. I know I was supposed to end, but these are quick notes. These are actually notes from articles I wrote yesterday. Kathy Wood is still thinking that, Bitcoin's going to hit 1.5 million by 2030. She's been saying this for a while. I think before she was saying 1 million. Now she's saying 1.5 million. I don't know. But she, where people were looking at Kathy Wood as being a little bit crazy on some of her transactions, you've got to take a look and say, well, she's been talking about Bitcoin for a while. She's been involved for a long while, her and her crew in the crypto space, been paying attention, running numbers, all that stuff. And I think you should be paying attention to ARK Invest and 21 shares, right? Do you see how you have that cross, that overlay between traditional finance and crypto and fintech? These are the things that I really try to dig into and try to follow. All right. I hope you have the rest of your weekend to enjoy. This is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Don't forget the articles that I wrote are actually up on growmybag.tv. And by the way, if you like the Sunday Roundup, please let me know, because it's something that I want to get back into. I had been doing it a while before, and then I stopped. But I'd like to pick it up every Sunday and try to kind of, go over what's going on in my head. And, that's kind of where I want to be. So if you like the Sunday Roundup, let me know. Let me know what I can do to improve the Sunday Roundup, because that's where I'm not, necessarily talking about news. I'm talking about what's hitting my head, what things I should be going into, maybe some reporting that people like, things like that. Anyway, hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.